a question I had specifically about the book, because or about the series, is there is a very large family that you're keeping track of just before you get to spirits coming back, just the
Yes.
official family. So, what tips do you have? One for keeping those characters straight and keeping them consistent through three and possibly one day, who knows, a fourth book. Um, how do you keep them consistent, and also how do you make sure that you're giving them their due, because everybody gets their moment. We have some feeling for every character without taking away too much time from Leo and her story, which is our main story.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I love that question. So I think I love writing characters. I mean, it's not that unusual. Most writers do, but some writers are like stronger in plot, stronger in world building. I feel like characters is the thing that gets me into a story and gets me writing. So it's very fun for me to. It was very fun for me to kind of sit down with all the characters and be like, okay, who are they? How are they different from each other? Because it is a very large cast. And sometimes I, am just having like an off day and I'll be writing and I'll realize that all the characters are having the same reactions and making the same decisions that I would make. And that's always like a sign that I'm doing something wrong. Especially Leo. I had this problem with Leo a lot in book one, where Leo would want, like, I would find her apologizing a lot or like, being very cautious and thoughtful. And that's not who Leo is. That's who I am. And I would have to like scrap that whole apology scene and instead have her barge into another bad idea.
My favorite is when middle grade characters crave coffee. Like, no, just go get some coffee, writer, and then come back and tell the story.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I derailed you. Continue.
No, yeah. So I think that's a good indication. So if any of the characters are making decisions or saying things that sound too much like what I would say or decide, it usually means that I haven't really thought from their perspective enough. Honestly, with Leo sisters, I gave them a little bit of I started off with kind of a one-dimensional template. I was like, Isabel is the nice one, and Marisol is the mean one, and Alma and Belen are nerdy and off in their own world. And then, like, as you start writing them, they say things. You describe that you have to describe them, so you kind of are forced to make choices about their characters. So I think if you just pay attention to what choices the character will like sort of start to develop. One of the things that happens in book 3 is that Isabel gets a little bit of like an unexpected arc. So when I started writing it, I thought it was very clear that Isabel was like the one who would step straight into her mother's footsteps and run the bakery, and she was the oldest child, so that made sense for her. But everything that she was doing in the books indicated that that wouldn't actually be the right path for her. She was really into magic, and she was really into spellcasting and learning more about magic, but she was never really into baking. And I had to sort of kind of realize that halfway through book 2, like, hey, something is a little off with this. So I had to give her that chance in book 3 to kind of say, I'm going to think about what I want out of life, and I'm going to think about like what I want to do in the future. So that was kind of fun. And same thing with Marisol. Like, she started out as the very rebellious character, but she just, she has her friends in a way, like in the town. She really likes the town. She really was always like jokingly she was shirking her responsibilities, but what she ended up doing was running the bakery, like doing the sales part of the bakery. So she kind of took an unexpected swerve in book 3 as well. All small moments, but it's not the main plot of book 3. And sometimes I was even like afraid that I wasn't getting it on the page enough. But I think that, again, with side characters, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have just the moments that like your main character sees, and the reader can kind of fill in the rest of that arc. Because, that's how we are in our life a lot. We don't see, like, my brother doesn't live in Houston anymore. He lives, he's at medical school down in the valley, the Texas Valley. It's a place. It's about 5 hours away, if that helps. And so, like, I don't get to see like every single thing that's going on. like, when I talk to him, I can kind of connect the dots. And so I think we're used to doing that with the real people we know. So it's not really that wild to expect a reader to do that with the fictional characters who are more on the periphery, not the main character.
Surely by the time you get to book 2 and you're going out, you're doing your school visits, you're promoting, you'll have those readers that come up and they tell you who they like, and it's not always who you want them to like. That happens to me. My favorite character is Grandma Juanita. Really? Neither Banneker Bones nor Ellicott Skullworth, the 2 stars? Grandma Juanita. Okay, I like her too, but... So
you
got those readers that had their favorite characters and are hoping that they're going to leave you 1-star reviews for the rest of your career if you hurt their favorite character.
I think there's something about the grandma characters because Leo talked with her abuela, the ghost, in book 1 for like one scene, and so many people told me she was their favorite character. Really glad to write book she gets to come back and be a little more active and be a little reclaim a little of her like wild teenager side, not just being the wise old grandma all the time.
Give your readers what they want, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's always one of my reactions to anything a reader says is, wait, if I were to do this, you would pay money for it? Well, that is worth at least considering. Go on.